Hello everyone, Simon here, and we're gonna play Black Mesa! Black Mesa is a fan remake of Half-Life 1 using the Half-Life 2 engine. Which, when they first started making it, it was like a really great idea because wow, hey, you're gonna remake Half-Life 1 using better technology, it's gonna look better. Except that it took them a long time to finish it, right? And by the time they finished it, Half-Life 2 engine is kind of obsolete. Anyway, I've always wanted to play Half-Life 1 on video. Except that Half-Life 1 is so old that you didn't really want to deal with all the low polygons and then bad graphics and all that. Anyway, now that Black Mesa is finished, let's play through this instead. Alright, let's go straight into it. Start game! Half-Life 2, the Half-Life 2 engine has a number of issues. One of them is long loading screens, which we're gonna encounter very quickly. So long loading screens and possibly iffy physics. This entry sequence into Half-Life 1 is pretty iconic by now. So Half-Life 1 begins...
Good morning and welcome to the Black Mesa transit system. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:47 a.m. Current topside temperature is 93 degrees. With an estimated high of 105. The Black Mesa compound is maintained at a pleasant 68 degrees at all times.
This title screen, it really is a little bit too long. Today, a gamer today or a game designer today would see that this is a little bit too long. But you have to remember the Half-Life 1 back then. Half-Life 1 was groundbreaking in the way they did environmental storytelling. And this is the definition of environmental storytelling. You're just riding through the Black Mesa facility and you're seeing what's going on. What kind of place this is.
Inbound from level 3 dormitories to Sector C test labs and control facilities. If your intended destination is a high security area beyond Sector C, you will need to return to the central transit hub in Area 9 and board a high security train.
Right, they're showing you.
If you have not yet submitted your identity to the retinal clearance system, you must report to Black Mesa personnel for processing before you will be permitted into the high security branch of the transit system.
They're showing you what kind of place this is. There's a lot of people in lab coats, there's robots, there's machinery, there's rockets, and outside there's a desert, right? You see that? Environmental storytelling, they're not telling you the background, they're just showing you.
Due to the high toxicity of material routinely handled in the Black Mesa compound, no smoking, eating, or drinking are permitted within the Black Mesa transit system.
It really is masterful for the time. Look at this. I mean, the graphics is better than it used to be. The graphics back in Half-Life 1 was not quite this high definition, but the idea of it is the same.
Please keep your limbs inside the train at all times. Do not attempt to open the doors until the train has come to a complete halt at the station platform. In the event of an emergency, passengers are to remain seated and await further instruction. If it is necessary to exit the train, disabled personnel should be evacuated first. Please stay away from electrified rails and proceed to an emergency station until assistance arrives.
It's great, right? Look at this. But it's long. It's a little too long. It's like you're basically stuck in a box, and then you're being told to like look at this stuff. So in terms of like modern game design, this would be a little too like uninteractive, right? You'd want the like this. I'm just like doing nothing, just looking around. So in that sense, it's a little bit forced. Like you're basically locked in a box and forced to look at things. But as I said, like back when Half-Life 1 first came out, this was completely groundbreaking. No one had ever done this sort of thing before. This level of environmental storytelling, no one had done it before. Like it feels real, right? Like before, the first-person shooters before this, it would have been like Quake. Quake 2, Quake. I mean, those had environments, but like you didn't really... You get a sense of like what the place is, but you don't really... There's no like...
A reminder that the Black Mesa Hazard Course Decathlon will commence this evening at 1900 hours in the Level 3 facility. The semifinals for high-security personnel will be announced in a separate secure broadcast transmission. Remember, more lives than yours may depend on your fitness.
It felt like a game, it didn't feel like a world, if that makes sense, right? Like this feels like a Black Mesa facility, whereas Quake, it feels like a game with levels, if that makes sense.
Do you have a friend or relative who would make a valuable addition to the Black Mesa team? Immediate openings are available in the areas of materials handling and low clearance security. Please contact Black Mesa personnel for further information. If you have an associate with a background in the areas of theoretical physics, biotechnology, or other high-tech disciplines, please contact our civilian recruiting team. The Black Mesa facility is an equal opportunity employer.
Is that cool? Robots! Cool, right? Half-Life 1 really is like if you had to do a course on video games, Half-Life 1 would probably have to be included in it.
A reminder to all Black Mesa personnel. Regular radiation and biohazard screenings are a requirement of continued employment in the Black Mesa Research Facility. Missing a scheduled urinalysis or radiation checkup is grounds for immediate termination. If you feel you have been exposed to radioactive or other hazardous materials in the course of your duties, contact your radiation safety officer immediately. Work safe. Work smart. Your future depends on it.
That's pretty good. Regular radiation screenings. Yeah, about radiation.
Now arriving at Sector C test labs and control facilities. Please stand back from the automated door and wait for the security officer to verify your identity. Before exiting the train, be sure to check your area for personal belongings. Thank you, and have a very safe and productive day.
Alright, so the intro took about 9 minutes.
Morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
We just spent like 9 minutes at the start of the game trapped in a box. I mean, like, yeah, today that would not be very good game design. But I mean, if you think about it, should I talk about game history? Like, if you think of like BioShock is like the next first-person shooter, like the next story-based first-person shooter that really like pushed the genre forward. And that one, you would notice that it takes a lot of inspiration from this. Like, you fall from a plane, And you do get to control yourself right away. Like you get to like swim around in the ocean, get out of the ocean, get into the lighthouse. But when you get into the lighthouse and then you get into the sub, you get trapped in a submarine, and then Andrew Ryan talks to you for a few minutes. And that sequence is, you know, thematically very similar to this sequence. It's like you're trapped in a box and the game talks to you to give you the background into the game world, right? So like, the idea that like the next best first-person shooter took that from this best first-person shooter. Like by best I mean like for their generation, for their time, they were the best games. It's yeah, like you can see just the amount of influence Half-Life 1 had on subsequent games. Okay, let's keep going. Let's not like spend too much time doing the
You know, Barney's been pretty scarce around these parts.
history lessons.
Guess his bar tab must have finally caught up with him.
I can talk to him?
Put some pep in that step, Freeman. You're late enough as it is.
We can talk to all of them, but it's not... We should probably move forward with the game.
Aw, man, you cut the ponytail. Sellout.
I think that's a reference. There's a lot of like Easter eggs and references. I'm not sure what that reference is. It might be that
Say hi to Dr. Cross for me.
early designs of Freeman had a ponytail. I'm not sure actually.
Hey, Mr. Freeman. I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess. They were also having some problems down in the test chamber, too, but I think that's all straightened out. They told me to make sure you headed down there as soon as you got into your hazard suit.
I mean the game is not perfect, and as we play through this, you might notice like
McVinney, Dr. Ryman, and Dr. Brickman, please report to Materials Complex for audit review, scheduled in 15 minutes.
there's some strange things about the level design. A lot of it is because it's an old game remastered. So a lot of the old design decisions that made more sense with low resolutions and low polygons make a little bit less sense now in high definition, but because it's a remake, they retain a lot of the old art direction. And so for example, like textures and colors, like it's a little bit unnatural. The textures, the spaces, like these textures, but it's like it's because like they upscaled the old designs instead of completely redesigning all the textures.
2, sub-level 3.
Like they redid them, but they didn't change the art direction. So the art direction that makes sense in lower definition doesn't always make sense in high definition. But anyway, that's not a huge issue. But if you're playing through this and some of this looks like this looks a little bit unnatural, like look at this. It's a little too square. And there's like, I mean there's railings. There's like tiny ass railings, but there's like nothing at the bottom and the top. Like there's nothing at the edges of the floors. Like this black thing, it's only a texture. Like you would expect this to stick out a little bit. Right, in a real wall, it would stick out a little bit. Instead of just being a texture, there might be a little more detail there, and then at the top of the wall there'll be, you can see a little border there, but that's also a texture. It's also flat. So some of this stuff, like if you are making this today, it would be a little bit more detailed, there'd be more geometry. But these are like really minor concerns, I
There
guess.
was a coolant leak earlier, but the thermal protection system seems to be online now. Those TPS reports have gotten progressively worse. Hard to find good help these days. Yes, about that. We're going to need you to come in this weekend. What? I've already made plans. Oh, don't worry. You can always attend the next convention.
Sergeant Fleischstadt,
Oh, would you look at that? Freeman actually did show up for work this morning. Looks like somebody here owes me lunch.
Good morning, Freeman. Shut up. Good morning, Gordon.
A lot of this banter was in the first game too. I don't remember how much of it. I think they've added a little bit more for the remake. But there was a lot of this banter in Half-Life 1 as well. Again, groundbreaking. The fact that like you're not immediately shooting monsters. You get time to like
The sample
just
was sent
hang
down to
out.
the test chamber.
They did this in Half-Life 2 as well. Like they'll put in breaks in the game where you take a break from the action, you just chill out with Alex and Eli. I think no, I need to go the other way first. Alright, so there's these things here, they tell you where to go. Research, that's the labs are that way, and then development and personnel are down here. We're going to personnel.
You're living in the past. That experiment is single-handedly responsible for inspiring my career in science.
How much recognition do you think you're going to get for reproduction, though?
You should focus on inventing something new and unique.
He does have a point.
Oh, but this is more than replication, I assure you. For one, it shows how far our field has come since the original study was published, and to say nothing of the modern perspective necessary to monitor its influence. I mean, combined with today's technology, I've recreated... I can't stand to hear another word of this malarkey.
Don't mind him. But here's something to think about for the next time.
You and your sugar-coated ersatz are absolutely full of it.
Creativity is the art of hiding your influence. Now let's get back to work. We should at least try to look busy.
In case you didn't catch that, that's a commentary on remaking the game, right? They're talking about redoing an old experiment, but it's actually about remaking this game.
Reports. Sector C material rail system is now operational.
Mode locked source relay helix form particle rebound due to displaced generation in specimen.
procedure coming along?
Is this the
Yes?
replace? Important. Increases in exotic matter, decreased stability or crystalline structure. This can increase resonance effects to dangerous levels. Yes. We are resonance cascading. Cool.
What the hell does PC load letter mean?
You never know.
I believe that's a programming joke. Wow, these computers. You know, back when Half-Life 1 was made, computers really did look like this. What is that? Oh, there's a reflection map on this thing. I couldn't recognize it because it doesn't actually reflect this room. I don't think. Or it kind of does. Not really. Can I knock this around? How well does this reflect? There's no way that's... Oh, maybe it is. Alright, if we knock it into the other room, can I? Oh, I can pick it up. Nice. Whoa! That's... Okay, this is definitely not this room. Oh, reflection maps. Reflection maps. Nope, that's not this room. That...
Do you think we should delay for another recalibration?
Are you thinking what?
I think we can conclude that Half-Life 2 engine does not have ray tracing. And neither does my graphics card.
Hello, Dr. Cross.
Who thought the cross?